Laural Bloomer, Tennessee. It's a small northeast Tennessee town that Jen and I hadn't even heard of before our visit to Damascus, when a local church member there got us an interview with Ruby Dunn, a woman who had had the entire first floor of her home gutted by the Hurricane Helene floodwaters. Damage in this community was surreal, completely destroying the lives of several homeowners while leaving other homes only 50 to 100 feet away, high enough on a knoll, completely untouched. Ruby's home had been far from untouched. The waters jumped the bank and rushed across and into her home, flushing out everything, and almost killing their dog had the cage not toppled onto its side so that it could escape. The waters passed through the home and mowed down this fence, which neighbors had recently helped repair. The damage here was especially bad because this is an area where two large creeks combine into the single river that heads downstream into Damascus. You could see the far creekside had been carved away and widened by the waters. Where the two creeks meet, the path the high waters had taken was clear. It had forced its way through the community on the land at the right and stripped away the land of vegetation at the point the two creeks come together. The widened creek now flowed at the bottom of a 4-foot ledge, deceptively calm and peaceful, given the fury of water that had caused so much damage on the land only 4 months earlier. Neighbors told us that on the night of the storm, while the waters raged across their lawns, they could hear hurricane winds snapping trees across the mountainside, sending them cascading down into the waters below. They said the sound was terrifying. Up until now, we hadn't interviewed anyone who'd lost their home in the Hurricane Helene floods. But Ruby and those around her were supportive of her telling her story. We would learn that both Ruby and her friends and neighbors wanted to make sure that the world heard about the miracles that had happened through the hearts and hands of the heroes God had sent to Ruby's rescue, and to the rescue of many others in these parts. It didn't take long as we started our way down the road to Ruby's house for us to start seeing the damage. This road had been left in ruins by the water, repaired most likely by locals as best they could. Jen and I didn't know what to expect, but we knew that of everything we had learned during this trip to Damascus, that Ruby needed to be the one to tell the ending of this particular story. Okay, so I'm with Ruby Dunn, and this town is, the name of this town?
Laural Bloomer, Tennessee.
Laural Bloomer, Tennessee, which is 10 minutes from Damascus.
Yes.
So the whole bottom floor was pretty much gutted, everything washed out.
Yes.
And a church group has been helping you read.
Yes.
Name of the church group. I want to give them kudos.
First Baptist in Damascus were the ones that got it all started.
Okay.
And
David Matlock.
And there the name is
I've heard
Grace
that name
Baptist.
before.
Because he was with J.D. Vance.
Yes.
So
oh my gosh, I knew
he
I
got
was
the
not.
whole thing rolling.
Yeah.
That's just amazing. So the group, when did they start? Like right after the flood?
Yeah, it was sometime in November. They had started before Christmas.
Yep.
And I didn't have no insurance. And the flood was like September the 20-something. Well, my husband died on October the 8th. So it was just me and her, and we were down there, like she said, we was down there taking care of my 100.
If you don't mind me asking, so was your husband already sick, or was it because of the flood?
No, he was in nursing home, COVID.
Okay. Oh, that's too bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I didn't get to come up here for like 7 or 8 days. I had one of my little dogs in here, and I had my big dog out there. And luckily, when it flooded, it knocked my big dog's cage over. So he got out, and he ran to the front porch. Well, when I finally got up here, it was like maybe a week and a half later because you couldn't get from Damascus to here. You couldn't
It was
go
all
through.
blocked off then.
Yeah, I mean, because the roads are washed out. Did you come this way?
The other way.
You couldn't cross the mountain.
From
Okay.
Shady Valley.
Right.
Yeah.
And see, in Mountain City you could get, but you couldn't get further than Mountain City.
Okay.
So I had to come across the mountain, and I got here, and it was just mud. I just wanted to check on my little dog that was in the house.
This was all mud. Just
I
to
mean,
wash
I mean, we lost our clothes, we lost our beds, couches, everything in our home.
Wow.
And that church, and I mean, I've had other people that has donated to me. There's a list of people, and I give all the glory to God, because God's the one doing this, not no one else.
Yep. Community just came together, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Wow.
And
They
when
really
the
did.
flood first happened, our dog right there, our mini dog, which she's out there now. And whenever we first came in, he was freezing
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. It was in wintertime, so that'd be really cold.
Yeah.
So yeah, right afterwards, then you obviously couldn't live here. So what happened then? You had to stay with family, or?
Yes, well, see, back in 2021, my son died, her father, and I got put on a ventilator at the end of the year, December
It was
2021.
COVID too, probably.
No, it was
28
double.
days she was on a ventilator.
Holy
Yes,
cow.
and then I was in rehab, so they took me to my mama's. So I stayed there, and luckily I was there during that time.
And so that you stayed there when this all happened. So while
Yes.
this was being redone, you had a place. And
Oh yes,
oh,
yes.
that's good.
Yes.
Yeah. What about now?
I'm still down there with my
Yeah.
my grandma. Bless her heart, she's a 104-year-old. She passed away.
Oh,
Last
But
week, 2 weeks ago.
she lived a life. She could tell you some stories that would really put
yeah, I
people.
bet.
But I mean, they had to tear out my cabinets, the floors. Well, you can go on through the house.
Looks like at least you get to keep your beautiful original.
Yes,
I mean,
my
those are
husband
nice.
built these.
Those are amazing.
But
you gotta
I'm
see
going-
this, Jen. Come check this
But
out.
I'm going to paint them gray because they
Yeah.
don't kind of match, you know. But he built this. We built our own home here.
It's just amazing. And, I mean, the outside is just it's a beautiful place.
They
So glad
built their
that-
own home like from scratch.
It's amazing.
He done the big fireplace.
Yep.
Wow.
And I mean, they put new windows in for me. They put new doors. They built closets.
Thank God the house itself is okay.
That's
You
what
know?
I told
Yeah,
everybody. And I prayed. I said, Lord, if anything, just save the whole of the house.
Yes.
Because me and my husband, we built this. We were married 41
Yeah.
years.
Lived here, raised
Yes.
your family. Wow.
And never, I mean, we've had floods before, but never nothing like this.
Yeah.
And I lost 2 vehicles.
You got washed away.
There's just so much stuff up under it,
Yeah.
got in the motor, so I lost 2 vehicles. And this camper out here, it got up under it and stuff, so we don't know how bad it is.
Wow. I ask everyone this because we've talked to people in North Carolina, Tennessee, obviously, especially our area, Irwin and Jonesboro. It's just hit really hard. And we hear the same story, but I'm wondering, Virginia sounded different. We talked to Katie, and the mayor was, the governor's amazing.
Yes.
Like, he's
Yes.
really doing a good job. How is the government helping you?
I got a hold of FEMA, they give me $1,000.
That was the first payment, like,
That's all I
That's
got
it?
from them.
up until now, only 1,000?
Only $1,000.
This is your primary residence.
Yes.
So that's,
Nothing.
I mean, I'm
That's
serious.
it.
are you able to reapply for rebuilding or anything like that, or they just say,
I've went through, I've put applications in at FEMA, Samaritan's Purse. There's a couple of things they've started up in Johnson County for us. I put applications, but I haven't heard nothing. Now, my Aunt Brenda, she has some friends that wanted to help,
Right.
so they give her money and she split it between me and my neighbor over here.
Oh wow. That was
But I mean, if it wasn't for people helping us, my home wouldn't be back like it is. It would still be, and I mean, mold set in, because where no one could get
yeah,
here.
yeah.
Mold was really, really bad in here.
So obviously no flood insurance because nobody thinks it's
No,
gonna happen.
no.
So the insurance company's not helping you. FEMA's not, for whatever reason. Did they give you a reason why they declined?
Well, they called and said that they would come out and give me an appointment to come out and
Okay.
look, and I've never heard from them.
And they just never followed up.
No,
I've heard the process is just crazy slow. So most people are going through and rebuilding, and then eventually, I guess FEMA will show up one day and write a check, but I don't know. So
I
you,
don't know.
and as far as the governor of Tennessee, I've not heard him coming to Mountain City or
Yeah.
Johnson County. But now, the mayor of Tennessee, Larry Potter, he has been he went up Richmond, he's trying to get funds to help people.
Page weight.
But I mean, if it hadn't been for the Christian people and just people out of the goodness of their heart helping me and my little girl's home would never been built back.
so let's talk about that. You got the people in the community. You have church.
Yes.
All donated stuff. Everything's donated out of the goodness of their
Every
hearts.
bit of this, I mean, this sheetrock, they had
The
to redo this
material,
whole.
everything. It's just donated or
Yes.
purchased from the church.
See, this floor was a hardwood floor.
Okay.
And I mean, it all had to get tore out. They had to put new footers. I mean, they've done a whole lot in my home. Put me a new bathroom in. I mean,
David Matlock followed it the whole way. Like he's been checking in. We do Awanas on Sunday nights, and David Matlock's always been. Are they still taking care of you? Are they taking care of you?
Yes.
Good.
Like he is on top of it.
So you've
He
got
is-
an advocate
He
in him.
is
yes,
amazing.
I thank God for people like that, because if it hadn't been, I don't know what me and her do, because I'm on disability.
Yeah.
And I'm raising her, and I mean, that's what we live on. I mean, Aunt Brenda, she's been a blessing to me and this little girl. And Uncle Kurt,
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah.
Uncle has been here, and when they come, Brenda and Kurt, they serve them hot meals at their house.
Oh, I'd
At
like to
lunchtime.
give a shout out to the people that are working in here.
Yeah.
Bill Sneed,
Okay.
and there's Robert and Herbert, and they get all these supplies, I mean countertops donated, and they drive over 3 hours. And they
Oh,
come.
they don't even live nearby?
They don't.
No.
They live in Northern Virginia above South Boston. And so they will come down and they will stay, sometimes in sleeping bags. We let them stay in our Airbnb in Damascus last time. But they stay the whole weekend and they work from sun up to sundown.
You know, it's the common story we're hearing is neighbors helping neighbors everywhere throughout all of this. It's just amazing.
And for some places, that's all they have.
Yeah, I mean, you're not,
Obviously,
no federal funding. Most people, their insurance isn't covering, so they've got nothing else, just neighbors.
That's exactly, the neighbors is what, but like I said, I'm giving all the glory to God because I come up here and I broke down and cried because I've lived here for 40 some years and it's like my home's gone. How am I going to do this? And then Ray and called David Matlock, and then next thing you know, it started coming. Aunt Brenda called people to help me, Uncle Kurt, and if it hadn't been for family and friends, me and her wouldn't have a home.
I mean, God works through people, doesn't he?
The neighbor, you're talking about neighborhoods pulling together, I think that was more so than the government.
Yes.
Because
Oh, yeah.
my mom lives on the Creeper Trail in Damascus, right at Trestle 16. And she got $700. Her basement was flooded out. My brother-in-law, my niece, and I took off 5 loads of stuff, of trash, the 3 of us. Then a tree in the backyard fell, and FEMA gave $700. And up here, the neighborhood is so great because when the men came, they came and stayed weeks, and now they're coming weekends.
Yeah.
And all of our neighbors, like Cindy next door, she made chili for them.
Yeah.
And we took it over to our house, and they all gathered around, and it was just a break from devastation.
Of course.
Because they go from house to house to rebuild. And it's Grace Baptist Church and, you know, the Baptist ministry for relief.
And Uncle Kurt, I mean, he would have their plates over there, coffee, drink. Get in here, Uncle.
Yeah, okay.
They're all crowded.
I mean, he had it already, and all they had to do was come in and sit down and eat. And he said, "Y'all discuss God and everything, didn't you?"
Yeah, they were great, just great volunteers. They came and basically they took it upon themselves. They got here to do flood relief.
How did they hear that help was needed right here?
David Matlock.
Oh, okay, so the
So
advocate.
it was through, it's through the Southern Baptist. Shout out to the Southern Baptist
Amen.
Convention.
The whole community of Southern Baptist.
And they,
Okay.
and they have a relief agency. I didn't know this, but the Southern Baptist Association, it's an association of churches. They have a group of people that are specially trained to do this. You can't come in here without being
didn't know that.
certified.
That's good.
So all of these people yearly go through training.
Yep.
And they do not just this, they've been to New Orleans when it was hit during Katrina.
So the church has like a recovery group.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah.
It's amazing.
So they are the hands and feet.
Wow.
So some of these people that came, they told me they've been doing this for 20 years.
Wow.
Giving up their vacation time.
But I want to give a shout out to him. He was over here helping them every single day,
Well,
hauling off trash, doing all kinds of stuff.
Do you live locally too? Are you?
He's my next door neighbor.
Next
He's-
door
he's
neighbor?
our uncle.
So you're helping. You're really
Oh,
helping your neighbors.
he's
Well,
amazing.
we just saw, I mean, you know, I physically couldn't do all of this because it was a house full of stuff that needed to be taken
Overwhelming,
out.
I'm sure. Yeah.
And then everything had to be gutted. And, but, you know, I just saw, you know, God do it. I mean, it started with it just being totally flooded. And the first miracle was I didn't even know where to begin because we need trucks and bodies and everybody's just, it was
Resources. Yeah.
And we're just sitting there and the first thing I thought was, well, I'm going to think on this and just pray and I'm going to see who can I reach out to. And I just started mowing my yard next door. It's in September. I'm like, well, let's get it mowed and let me think what we can do. We need a plan because this was just filled with mud and dirt and
Yeah, I can
all the
imagine
clothes
too.
were soaked and all the furniture
So
was
heavy.
soaked. The first miracle was just I was mowing and all of a sudden this young, tall, scrappy young man walks up and he says, hey, and I stopped him on. I said, can I help you? And he said, somebody said you needed help.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, well, where'd you hear that? So what they done, they take the elementary school, which is just a mile or two up the
Yeah.
road, and turned it into an emergency center in the community. It's
Okay.
all community.
Yeah.
And they said that somebody knew Ruby, so they sent that guy down there. And what it was a group of young men from
Oh, they're
Indiana.
so nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
They were from Indiana, and it was a Bible school. And it was like a little small Bible school.
How long after the flood was that?
Just 2 days,
So they
3
drove
days.
They were so
They
nice.
jumped in a van
Wow.
and drove all the way down here from Indiana.
Wow.
Bethel Bible College in
Yes.
Indiana. They said, we'll get it all out. So they started lifting and pulling and tugging, and they pulled it all out and set in the yard. And Ruby went through it, telling them what she wanted
Yeah.
to keep and what could she throw away.
So can I tell you something? I never knew the Christian churches, the connections and the strength of the
Yeah.
community, because I was interviewing Buck Hill Campground. At Buck Hill Campground in North Carolina,
Uh-huh.
he said the same thing. It's like all my brothers from around the
Yeah.
country, just churches were sending
Yes.
people
Yes.
and helping him. It's just amazing.
Yes.
Yes.
It's not just neighbors here, it's across
No.
the country.
Well, in Boone and Asheville,
Yeah.
the only thing they had was Samaritan's Purse.
Yep.
We know the gentleman. The property next door we bought is from one of the directors of Samaritan's Purse in Boone,
Okay.
and FEMA was not there. It was that they were the arm.
Samaritan's Purse was.
Kirby
Yeah,
Nelson.
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
And
He helped us
they
get
were
to
helping people but they couldn't even get the road from here to Boone. Is it 67?
421.
421.
Yeah, we were there.
Was washed
Yeah,
out.
oh, that's
So
close.
they couldn't even get down to us.
Yeah.
So then, it was, like I said, it was the Indiana Bible School that tore everything, the clothing, the furniture, everything out.
They were so nice
So,
too.
Yeah, and they were just, they
We were
were
helping,
here
and I'm
2
telling
days.
you, those clothes were so heavy to even
Yeah.
lift up.
Oh,
I'm a
water
community
bottle,
health
yeah.
worker. I can only help a couple days, but I was lifting the clothes. I could barely lift it up. I had to have Kurt help me lift some
Yeah.
stuff because
Yeah.
it was so heavy from the rain and the wet and the
It
mud.
must feel overwhelming to be in the middle of all this, seeing all
Yeah.
these people. So we were interviewing Katie, the mayor of Damascus yesterday,
Katie,
Katie Lamb.
Katie Lamb, and she couldn't stop crying.
Yeah.
Like every 5 minutes she just teared up, and I figured it out halfway through. It's because she's realizing, seeing people, helping people in the community. I think the blessing from all of this is going to be afterwards, how much
Yeah.
closer you're all gonna be.
Right.
This whole,
Yeah.
everybody, all this whole region,
Oh, yeah.
everyone's gonna be so much closer, helping each other survive through this.
I feel like it's cleansing. I feel like it's a cleansing. Like God knew that something needed to happen. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Just with my faith, because He knew there was so much stuff, division going on, that He knew, and people have came together, and I think it's amazing.
Well, it's bringing people together in
Yeah.
a big way. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just been one miracle after the other. And people don't realize you see the trees, you see that debris, but then you take all these people's possessions. Just a little house like this there was 5-ton, her cousin, Alan, came with a 5-ton trailer. And we hauled at least 5 or 6
Yeah.
loads out
Yeah.
on that.
So the destruction must have looked like, we've seen North Carolina right after, Tennessee, we just always see it. And it still looks bad.
Yes.
Around here, the cleanup went so much
We
faster.
can't believe,
Damascus has
This is
really jumped on it,
amazing.
coming up from that direction.
Yep.
They got the road up. I was shocked. I really didn't.
Faster than most areas.
I didn't know
Yeah.
we'd have a road in a year. You know.
But we couldn't actually, my mom lives down there, and that's where Ruby and Paige were staying, and we couldn't actually go down 91 because the
Yeah.
road was washed away,
Yeah.
so we had to take another route.
You had to take.
We were sort of landlocked in here and waterlocked and roadlocked.
Yeah.
Where
The
did-
day that it happened, see, we were up there in our house, and we could look out the windows and see what was going on over here.
She has a
And
video of her
around,
coming.
it was water all around us. We could actually hear the trees, and you can take pictures or go over the video of
Yeah.
the trees
Cracking.
snapping off our
Snap.
mountain.
Oh, wow.
Going down the river, it broke
Yeah.
part of the dam out. And I looked at Kurt and I said, this is not good. I know where this is going, because
Yeah.
I always lived in Damascus, and it was
Yeah.
going down the Laurel.
Well,
And all of it got backed up, and
Yeah.
We
Every other bridge down through 91 was taken out.
Mhm.
Some people haven't rebuilt the bridges. They're taking alternate
Yeah.
roads back around, but we know several neighbors down through there lost their bridge access to their house. If you go back to Damascus, when you get
my
to the
girl.
first big concrete bridge. It'll be right on the left.
Okay.
You can look down through there. There's one trailer remaining.
It's powerful for you, isn't it? Oh my gosh.
No, you don't know what they've done. I
Yeah.
mean, to come up here and see my whole life. I mean, my whole life got everything gone, but you know what? I realized then it's just material things. Yeah. I've got my girl, I've got my home, and I got my family. And when I walked in here, I thought, God, what am I going to do? Mm-hmm. And then people just started showing the love like you wouldn't believe. Mm-hmm. And which one's Pastor Bill Sneed?
Bill Sneed and Robert and Herbert and
I mean, their
a lot
church,
of great
Their
people.
their
church
church has took up money
Grace.
for me.
Makes you realize how much the community loves you, right?
It does. I mean, God is so good.
Yeah.
And she's gonna have real heat in here.
You're looking forward to that.
Yeah, because I can't, I mean, all I did was use my fireplace. And I can't build fires no more and carry wood and stuff.
Yep.
And I get to have a nice room, so I'm happy.
You must be looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Having your own room.
Yeah, they've taken up the donations, and we're having a split ductless heat system put in, and we've got half of that raised, and the gentleman Herbert that's over, well, he's a leader in the convention's relief rescue team. They call it a relief rescue team. He said, just send me the check for the rest of it. We'll get it taken care of. So they'll have ductless split systems put in. These huge bay windows in the front were donated by a window manufacturer.
Wow.
That
Isn't
they
that
made.
amazing?
That is amazing.
You know, all of this, the countertops were raised, the money was raised, everything. I mean, they went from doing a rescue to just doing a complete rebuild.
What's an oak?
Somebody donated her
Yeah.
stove. She got a washer dryer
stove.
now. I mean, because her old stuff was
Refrigerator over
destroyed.
there.
Just a
She
huge
got a
outpouring
refrigerator.
of love from
Yeah.
the whole community. And what I appreciate too is being willing to talk, because one thing I've noticed is no one wants credit. Especially Christians who are trying to help. They don't
Yeah.
want to talk about it. They don't want
Yeah.
to.
So we have to give them credit
But they need to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes they just
Yes.
need to be recognized for how
Well,
much they love
It was
us.
amazing to me because I was raised in a Southern Baptist church. I didn't know they had a relief agency.
Yeah.
And it's equivalent to like Samaritan's Purse, which is, you know, Billy Graham was associated with the Baptist, but he's interdenominational.
Yeah.
So they use a lot of different denominations, but this is just little country Southern Baptist churches that unite, and they have their own relief team that's went all the way
They
into.
just stand ready
New
to
Orleans.
respond. It's just
Yeah,
amazing.
they come with vehicles, trailers with tools, skilled laborers, materials, and they have to go through certification and training, you know, everything that the Red Cross, they're Red Cross certified
I don't know.
to do, so.
Makes me feel even more happy we chose to live in the South.
I know, right?
5 years ago, we moved down here and
Where'd you move from?
fell in love with this place. Well, we grew up in Maine, and northern Maine is so much like this.
I know,
area.
It's so
The
beautiful
we
there.
It's
forget
mountains,
where
and the
we-
people are like this.
It's
but now we
very,
moved-
I've been
It
there.
is.
So this response to me is like, yeah, yep. It's how people are around here. It really is.
It's just amazing, and just to see them coming from 4 hours away. I mean,
Yes.
these guys are, and the week that they did the big rebuild, well, I mean, this has been in phases, because first the Southern Baptist Relief Team sent a demo team out. They had to demo everything in here. So it was demoed down
That's
to
a job right there.
demoed
Yes.
down
Yeah.
to the studs. Then they had to spray and kill out all the mold.
Mold, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and where you're standing was mud.
Yeah, I
There's
bet.
so
I
much
mean-
you might not even think of.
Yeah.
Like all the systems and
Yeah.
the mold and.
So all
Yeah.
of then
So
all
bad.
of
Before you
that,
can even rebuild.
Right.
all of that had to be taken off. We took off another 3, 4, 5 ton loads
Yeah.
of debris and took it to the. I mean, it was just insane. And then here comes the other team, and it's when the cold spell hit, and it blew my mind because it was freezing cold in here. And the house didn't even, the back wall, it was busted out back there where the water had rotted
So
it
that
out.
was pushed right out.
So they're in here working in the cold.
Freezing cold.
And they're going after it, and they brought a big heater and all that. So,
Wow.
you know, I knew when the temperatures called for that, then we said, well, the least we could do is just serve them a hot meal.
So what about this whole area, Damascus, this community, just
Wow.
this region?
Mountain
Are
City.
there a lot of people in this situation? that you
Yes,
know of?
Mountain City is terrible.
Okay.
It is awful. Well, anywhere up through here, when you drove up 91, this was on the news, and the governor of Virginia was up in Taylor's Valley.
Which as
yeah.
as you follow the water, it's probably all.
Yeah, and you go right down there, you'll see the water coming down over the road probably right now.
It is.
There was on the national news a house that was torn in half. The gentleman was washed downstream. They rescued him. His mother, the wife was still in the house, half of it, but she was hiding.
Okay.
And they said she was dead. He believed she was dead for 2 days. He was in the hospital,
Wow.
beat to death. There's video online. He's bruised all over. Then finally the son comes to him and said, guess what? Mom was just back there chilling in a chair. She's
Oh,
alive.
that's the story.
Yes.
What a miracle.
That's the story that Katie told us
Yeah,
yesterday.
yeah, Katie.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes,
that was
yeah.
Taylor's Valley, right up here. The Creeper Trail goes through Taylor's Valley.
Okay.
And so it's right there on the right when you're going back down.
Yep.
And
Okay,
there
we'll
was,
take a look.
it was a big bridge washed completely out. So Governor Youngkin got him a temporary bridge put in because people didn't even have access to their houses
Yeah,
there.
yeah. It just blows my mind the amount of resources
Yeah.
needed, and it's being fulfilled by all of these
Yeah.
volunteers.
We've
You know.
adopted a family through my Bible study. The leader of the Bible study, she goes to Simple Rhythms. It's in Abingdon, and there's 10 families that we have adopted. We adopted one, Tara Pope, the one who owns the Wicked Chicken. We've adopted that
What
family
does it
for
mean
a
to
year.
adopt a family?
Means we get to help them for a year. Like we give them gift cards. We give them, like we put gravel in their driveway.
That's
We bought the
amazing. Oh my
the
gosh.
gravel and stuff. And
Wow.
so, yeah, it's a small Bible study group, but we're trying to do big things like.
I kind of need it, right? Because it's a long-term thing. as
Yes,
they're rebuilding
yeah, because
and-
it's not just like you can donate this and then be done, because there's so much stuff that needs to be
Yeah,
done.
yep.
So
And
that's
meanwhile, they've got no place to live,
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
And have needs, I mean.
Yeah.
What
Wow.
really was a miracle
So,
was that
it is.
whenever the flood first come, it was all out through Damascus. And then there's a creek right beside where my grandma was living at the time she was alive. Everybody in Damascus all but got flooded. They had like a picture of all of Damascus.
Right, yep.
Except for our street down through there. So we didn't
My
have
house
to
and
back up
everybody's?
about 140 over.
No way.
She didn't even have a mud puddle in the yard.
All it was just like from all the water and stuff.
And
Yeah.
my dad would call that like, I don't know, being specially blessed.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Like,
Oh my
the
gosh.
water just parts around. That's just
Yes.
amazing.
Our house didn't get flooded.
My house,
Ours
I
did.
lived one house over from them.
Yeah.
My house, nothing happened. I was on Coronado Beach when all this was going on. I came
Oh,
home
you
to
must have
it.
been scared. Oh my God.
I was just like, I couldn't get a hold of anybody. There was no
Yeah,
service. I was
right.
like, because her aunt takes care of my dogs. And I was like, oh my God, what is going on over there? People were sending me stuff. I couldn't get a hold of anybody. I was
Yeah.
thinking,
That is one thing Katie said, and I'm not sure why around here. It's a little different. The damage is more spotty.
yeah.
Yeah.
Very
It's
spotty.
like
it
a
is.
wildfire.
Yeah,
You'll
Yeah.
have
some
like,
areas
Right.
really bad.
yeah, and then the
It's
house is fine.
Yeah,
It's
my
where the,
kid
it's
got
where the
hold of it.
water comes in at. See, this is, where we're standing here is in a lower section. Like where we live over there, fortunately, we're up on a knoll.
I bet it's the mountain
So-
shape. The way the
So
mountains
is
are.
it,
Yeah.
yeah,
you're
it's
right.
your whole,
Mhm.
so, and then it depends on which way the curve takes on a creek.
Yeah, yeah.
If it takes away which it comes here, so.
You're
when
just
that-
on the wrong side of the creek or in a
At the
low
low,
spot.
low spot, so here was a low spot, it jumps that berm up there, comes through here.
Yeah.
But it's, so that's like some bridges, they caught all the debris
Yeah.
coming down. Then the other ones that went on around, cause they were clogged up. But there's no rhythm or reason
Yeah, it's
or
pretty random,
rhyme.
especially the bridge when it gets dammed up too.
Yeah.
Now you got a dam. If
But
that breaks, then you got even another whole flow of water
Yeah.
coming down through it. So.
Damascus was a miracle though, they had a rescue team out in boats
I
pulling
heard.
people out.
Yeah.
Black
And
Hawk too.
Katie, I don't know if Katie would have blown her own home, but she
She didn't.
We can
Katie's
tell she's
amazing.
amazing. We can tell.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
She
Very
is.
humble.
Mm.
Oh,
She's a great
she
leader.
loves the community.
And
There's
another
no
miracle
doubt.
was
Yeah.
where it flooded all throughout Damascus, the like where the power stuff, like I don't know the building, that was underwater, so we had no power for a week.
Over
For
that,
at
it was
least
3
It
weeks.
was,
They
it
were
was at least
affected?
3 weeks.
yes.
Wow.
And my family,
No water,
all,
no
all of
electricity.
For how
all of
long?
my grandma's
Like 3
family
weeks.
3
came
weeks.
through and gave at least 2 generators, and we
Yeah.
could give her food and everything, and she was still
Yeah.
safe.
So for a while, the whole community was just.
Oh, yeah, I had to stay at my sister's house in
But
Abingdon
what
because
was,
I need to
what was
work.
amazing,
Yeah,
Internet.
right. Oh.
I,
The
I
whole
have to
family
brag
came
on
together
Katie,
to take care of her.
they went down to the town hall or center down there at the park. They had tents up, and literally Katie and her husband Brian stood there for 12 hours a day. There were meals being brought in, people were bringing
Oh,
food.
yeah.
She
And
didn't
they,
mention that.
they,
No,
There
she
were
didn't.
free
She talked
meals.
about everybody else.
they
She
were
didn't mention that.
they were sitting there with cases of water
Food.
everybody.
That's right.
They had prepared food.
Every day.
You got a hot
Every
meal every day.
Yep.
Nobody went hungry.
If it wasn't for them, then
You
all of
know,
us would have went hungry.
so it was-
Alan.
It was like
Yeah.
it was like the American Red Cross set up, but it was they got them in there, but they were working night and day, exhausted.
Wow.
So shout out to Katie
Katie and Brian, they
They-
did excellent.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, you would have thought they were in the army.
when you do that, when you're
Yeah.
when you're in the recovery right after, there's trauma
Yeah.
because you see all the things people
Oh,
go through,
yeah.
and you can see it in her eyes. Like
Yeah.
she's still
Well,
reliving
yeah,
it. She has a hard time with it still. I think.
Really affected her.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hope.
It affected everybody.
Yeah.
Obviously.
I just hope everyone eventually can, once the
Heal.
rebuilding is done, and then heal from it.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will, because we got God.
Yeah, and each other,
Yes.
which God is through each other. So.
Yes. This is my girl. She's been through so much.
Well,
Yeah.
it's okay. God's got me.
I know.
I gotta give it to him.
Yep, you do.
Absolutely.
You do.
Well, Ruby, we appreciate you sharing this with us. I know it's something we struggle with because you want to tell people stories, but you don't want to make them relive it, and it's. So to do it in a respectful way, we try to, and we appreciate you being willing to talk about it.
Yeah, but the people that's helped me, they deserve the credit. I know they'll say, oh, we don't want our names, but still, they were great people, weren't they,
Oh,
Uncle?
gosh, yeah.
There's
Really
just
surprised me.
armies of people.
Yes.
And they're not done. They're still coming.
They'll be-
Oh, yeah.
That's what we want to highlight, the heroes, all the heroes that are out
Yes.
there. At least at this point, it's a good story. I mean, this is amazing progress.
Well,
And
you come on through the rest
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
house.
let's-
Go
let's
right
take a
ahead.
look. Thank
Go
you,
right ahead.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
what has Ruby Dunn's story taught us? It's shown us that in these mountains, neighbors are more than neighbors. And not only in these mountains, but America itself. Neighbors from other states rushing in to rescue and rebuild. Americans, as Southerners say it, loving on one another. And in the hardest of times, you learn so fast how valuable it is to have a friend to lean on or to cry on when you're struggling to keep smiling through it all. Jen and I felt blessed to meet Ruby Dunn, her granddaughter, and her lovely circle of friends and neighbors. We continue to pray that all the communities in this area have a fast road to recovery. And one thing that's for certain is we'll be back again very soon.